what's up, and welcome back to the channel. And we are going to dive into some craziness today. We are going to talk about multi-effects pedals and stomp box pedal boards and stomp boxes in general, and what might be the best choice for you for what you want to do for your type of gigging. Now, if you're a starting out musician, there's a lot to choose from. If you guys look at this table, I mean, this is a stomp box board, that's a stomp box board, and then these are multi-effects pedal boards. This is a multi-effects pedal board, but it's more like a stomp box board. We have everything that's from like the guy that's just starting out to the top of the line pros, what to play with. And if you're a new musician out there, and we're going to discuss this from the guy that's starting out all the way up to the guy that's playing at the top level of the music industry, but it can be really confusing for you when you're starting out. What to choose, because there's so much variety, there's so many things to pick, so many stuff, and if you're on a budget, how do you afford all that and stuff? Because we have everything from the super budget friendly stuff all the way up to the top of the line, most expensive stuff out there that you can get, which is sitting right here, which is the Boss GT1000. But we're going to start off and we're going to try to go through it, explain to you guys kind of how it all works. I'll tell you which one's my favorite and what I use all the time. And, well, it just depends on, what style you're playing, because everybody is different. Everybody wants to do something different. It depends on how simple you want to be or how complicated you want to be. Me, personally, I love simplicity. Now, a lot of this stuff doesn't look simple because there's a lot of stuff going on here, but a lot of these things are very simple to use until you get into some of these multi-effects ones over here, which get a lot more complicated. So let's just start at looking at some of the things. Start with some of the basic stuff here, which is the Donner pedals that I have here, which are a multi-effects pedal, and these are distortion, chorus, and delay. This is the Donner. This is the Donner Alpha Force. This is like the metal pedal that they put out and stuff, and this has distortion, delay, and chorus on it, which are my three go-to effects. That's my three go-to effects, and these things are super budget friendly. When I bought this one, it was about $69, and that's something else we're going to talk about is price. And this thing is amazing. This is an amazing little throw and go, all in one deal. I love it. And then they came out with this one, which is the Donner Alpha Cruncher, which was the first one actually. This one was about $49 when I got it, or $39. I think it might have been $39 when I bought it and it went up. But this is great. You can do rock and metal on this one as well. This one just has a little bit more oomph to it on the distortion side of it. But these are great professional pedals. I'm not going to say they're entry level. They're entry level in price, but these things are built like tanks and they work amazing. And these are great pedals to start with, and they're awesome. And then you can move up into the different stomp boxes and pedal boards and pedal ranges when you get into this. It depends on how you want to configure your stuff. Now, I am a distortion, delay, and chorus guy. I don't really need anything else. That's why I love these. That's pretty much how all this stuff is actually set up for me. That's all I really need when it comes to effects. I like a nice clean channel, a good distortion, a good delay, and good chorus, and I'm ready to rock and roll. But you can go from as simple as this to as complicated as these and stuff. When you step up to the next level, say you want to get a couple pedals, say we do stuff. I'm not going to actually look at this board because this board has a little more. Look at this one back here, which is a very basic pedal setup. Alright, this is a simple board that you guys can use if you want to keep your stuff simple, very simple. This is a really great way to go. What we have on here is a really great Black Star LT distortion on here. We have a noise gate on here that helps with the noise coming out of the speaker when it's cranked up high. We've got the TC Electronics, we got the TC Afterglow, and then we got the TC Electronics delay. So this is a chorus, this is the delay, and then this is just a looper here with a tuner, a Donner tuner. So this is Donner, TC Electronics, Black Star, and then another Donner right there. So we got three Donner pedals on here, some TC Electronics and Black Star. This is a very simple way to rig it up and run it. And this is like one of the simplest stomp box rigs that you could actually run. I love this setup. This is a great setup for me. This is perfect. This is all I ever need. And this is actually one of my favorite pedal boards that I have because it's very simple. Even though I like a wah, I love this setup, and a lot of times if I'm just going or I'm jamming with some people and stuff, this is the board that I grab to take with me and go and just jam on it because I just love it so much. And this isn't super breaking the bank expensive when it comes to setting up something like this. you're looking at, oh, I don't know, I got these used, so probably one, two, probably right around $300 and some dollars, $350 with the pedal board and the power cord that runs it all and stuff. Probably about $350 for this setup, and you're good to go. I love this setup. It's great. But this is a good basic, if you want to get into the stomp box thing setup. Now, you can use whatever you want. Pedal-wise, I'm a big Boss fan as well, and I use Boss products for many, many years. And I used to play with a Boss Metal Zone, a Boss Stereo Chorus, and a Boss Delay. That's all I used. And I had a Vox wah for a long time until I got the Jerry Cantwell wah. And that was it. That was my setup. That was all I had. And I didn't even have it on a pedal board. I just put all those pedals on the floor and went to it. And now I've kind of graduated from that. I still have my Metal Zone. I still have those pedals. But I kind of really started liking this Black Star distortion and kind of switched to that. And I really was liking these TC electronic pedals. I really wanted to try something different. And so this is what I came up with when I created that pedal board. Now, when you want to get into something, set that back there, it gets a little bit more expensive, that's when you step into this pedal board. Now, this pedal board right here has been my go-to pedal board for a long, long time. I've been using this setup for many, many, many years, and I have loved it. It has been amazing, and I just recently upgraded and started using this Boss GT1000 just because I just wanted to do something different, try something different, and I wanted a new multi-effects pedal board. And I have this one. I'll tell you all about that one, and I'll tell you why I went with this one, and stopped using this one. I still use this one. I use this one for recording a lot because I like what's in it. But now that I've got the GT1000, I'm going to start using that one for recording. But let's dive into this one first. So this has been my main go-to pedal board for many, many, many years. Many, many, many years. You can see it's road damaged and stuff. It's kind of beat up and dusty, but it's been awesome. This thing has the Black Star LT distortion on it. I've got the Digitech Drop D, which I love that pedal. I've got the Jerry Cantrell wah. I've got a Donner tuner on here. I've got a Donner noise gate. I've got a Moore chorus and a Moore delay, and then I've got a Boss looper station on this pedal board. And this thing has been a workhorse for me. Now, I love this thing. It's pretty hefty, but this is my ultimate setup for me when I'm playing. I love this. This is all I need, and it's just a great setup. I mean, I love this. The reason why I have the drop Digitech looper on there is because like Kiss stuff is played in E flat, Motley Crue stuff is played in D, and this right here does that simply by just turning this knob to whichever drop you need, and then just stepping on that switch, and you are in that drop D tuning, and you can keep your guitar in standard E tuning. And so I like that. I don't like having to have certain ones set up in a drop D or whatever and stuff, a drop tuning. I can just use this pedal, go to that drop tuning, and that's it. I don't play anything below D anyway, so this is perfect for that. And it sounds amazing, does the job, gets the job done. So I love that. If you guys are looking for a great drop pedal, so you don't have to have your guitar set up to like D or set up to E flat or whatever tuning you guys are using, check out these Digitechs because they're awesome. And then the Jerry Cantrell wah is self-explanatory. Love Alice in Chains. Jerry Cantrell is an amazing guitar player. He's one of my favorites. And this wah has this awesome adjuster on the side, so you can really control your wah effect. I think I keep mine set kind of split in about the middle area with it. But I love this pedal. It's awesome. It's been a great wah, and I've used it for many, many years. And then the Donner tuners are awesome. They're not super expensive, and they work great. And the Moore chorus and delay, these mini Moore chorus and delays, what I like about these, they don't take up a lot of pedal board space. So I'm able to get the sound that I want without having to have the bigger pedals. That's why I like those. And I can't say enough about the Black Star LT distortions. That's why I have them on both pedals. A great distortion. And a looper is self-explanatory. This is the Boss looper. It's a great looper. Easy to use. I love using loopers when I'm practicing. I don't use them live, but I use them when I'm practicing and working on solos. And this pedal board is awesome. But this is a more expensive setup because if I remember, the board itself came with the power supply, and it's like $80-some, I think. And then the Digitech, this Digitech drop pedal is like 150, 160 bucks. Jerry Cantrell was like, I want to say 130 or 150, somewhere in there for that. This pedal I got used for about $75. This is $100 pedal. This one is like 40. This one's like 40. These guys were like 60 something and 70. So you're talking about a lot more money to set this pedal board up. But this is a great pedal board that'll last you forever, and I love this. And the way this is wired in, it comes into my wah. It actually, if I remember correctly, I go into my wah first, which then goes into my tuner. My tuner goes into my drop D, then I go into my distortion, then I come up into my noise gate, and then into my chorus and delay, and then into the looper, and then out into my amp. And I plug this direct into the front. I plug everything direct into the front. I never use the back loopers. I never have. I think it sounds just fine for me, and that's how I go. But that is this pedal board, and I love it, and it's a great way to go as well. Yes, this video is going to be kind of long because we're covering a lot. Now, let's move over to these guys, just to cover these real quick, and then we'll get into what you're going to use not. So, I've had this ME70, this Boss ME70, for many, many years. This Boss ME70, and this thing is a workhorse. It is amazing. You could do so much with it. You can set it up as a stomp box and use your 4 stomp pedals, or you can program patches. It has amp simulation and cabs, so you don't need an amplifier. You can plug direct into a PA and play this thing, because it has on here, it has a lead stack, a tweed, a combo, and a clean, and then it has all the adjustments. It's got built-in reverb. It's got output levels. This thing does everything. It's got a wah. It just does everything under the sun, and it's a great, great pedal. The thing I will say about that, the reason why I used this thing live for a while. I was trying to go to a multi-effects pedal versus the stomp pedals, and I used this thing live for a while. But the problem with this pedal is that because I'd have to play and sing sometimes. I'm not a singer, but I do have to do it sometimes. When I'd be looking down and go to try to stomp on my pedals, I would end up stepping on 2 of these. And when you step on 2 of these, it makes this thing do something else. Like it goes to the tuner, or it changes to a different patch or something like that. And so I made that mistake a couple times, and it really irked me, because these are a little bit too close together for me when I'm stepping on when I'm playing live. Now if I'm playing live and I don't have to do any singing whatsoever, and I'm just playing live, this thing is awesome, and I had 0 issues with it. But when I'm having to look down on the microphone and do switches, I ended up having a couple issues with this, and so I wasn't really happy with that. So I went back to my stomp box setups, and I kept this because this is a great recording tool as well. You can plug direct into your recorder or your interface, and you can do everything with this thing. And you can get these things pretty cheap now that they're used, but these things are built like tanks. I've had this ever since it was released. I don't remember what year it came out, but I bought it when it was new, like the first year it came out. And this thing has been around for many, many years. Built-in tuner, so many effects, so many things. Boss knocked it out of the park with this thing. I'm never going to get rid of this because it's a great tool for the studio. But I just wasn't happy with how close these were together. And I love the sounds it has. I love all the stuff I can get out of it. And even in the stomp box mode, it was really great. This is a great versatile pedal, and I highly recommend this. And for the used price of these, they're well worth picking one up. I just love it. It's a great pedal. But I had this one for many, many years, and I actually was using this, and then I went back to building a new pedal board, which is this pedal board. Got away from my Boss Metal Zone and built this pedal board, and went back to playing that over this. I still use this for recording. I still use it for recording today because I like it, and it has great sounds. But I recently moved on. Now these were like $300 when they were new, if I remember correctly, like $299 when they came out. But I recently purchased this Boss GT1000, and this is like the Ferrari of pedals and stuff. And this Boss GT1000 is amazing. It just does everything under the sun. It has so many effects, so many sounds, so much stuff going on in it. It does stuff that I'm never going to use. But this thing is like $1,300. $1,200. It's like $11.99, so $1,200 or $13.99, depending on where you're buying it from, I think. So this is a really expensive pedal. But this thing does everything, and it does so much stuff. I mean, like I said, it does everything on the sun. It has so many ins and outs on the back here to do stuff that I will never use all of it. I'm still getting to know it. I mean, I've got it programmed for what I like, but you can program all these switches and everything. And the reason why I ended up going with this over some of the other ones is that this one was easier to figure out the dial in, because these things have gotten so complicated. They are like literally a computer within themselves. And this is what I mean by complicated pedals. These things are so complicated now. I thought this one was complicated, but this one's actually really simple compared to this. This thing, I had to do a lot of research. I had to do a lot of figuring out. The manual doesn't really tell you a lot. If you guys go watch, I have videos on this because I figured out to show you how to program it and like the keep it simple stupid method of doing this stuff for this pedal. But this is like top end and stuff. Now, that's kind of going through the pedals. I mean, this thing is crazy. I don't know what else to say. It's just nuts. Check out my videos. But anyway, that's kind of a rundown of these pedals. So you're going from your kind of beginner here, moving up through your more stuff, all the way up to this top level stuff. Now, you have to ask yourself, what do you want as a guitar player? What are you looking for? Are you a simple guitar player that doesn't need a lot, or are you somebody that likes to get real complicated in your playing? You have to ask yourself, you know, what kind of sounds are you wanting to have when you're playing your music? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Now, if you're like me and you're a keep it simple guy, this or this is all I really ever need. These two pedals, whichever one you prefer, whether you want red or black and you want a little bit more heavier distortion, which this has heavy distortion too. I play metal on this. Both of them are awesome. This one gets you a little bit more saturation, I guess, on it. But I love both of them. These are awesome. This is all I ever need. This has chorus delay and distortion. This is it. Can use the reverb on my amp, and this is golden for me. This is all I ever need to play. I don't need anything more than this. So I can spend, was it $49 or $69, and I'm good to go forever. And these things are awesome. But what's awesome about this too is this is a great backup pedal. So if you have this crazy expensive thing here and it goes down on you, and you have one of these in your gig bag, you can still play your show. And this thing is so small. They come in really nice boxes. They come with their own power supplies. And these things are built extremely well. And if you guys check out my videos on my channel, you can see these demoed. So you can hear what they sound like. And they are awesome. They are awesome pedals. I highly recommend these for anybody, whether you're a pro level or a beginner. If you guys are looking for something budget friendly that sounds amazing, either one of these will do it for you. And what's awesome is these are just like a stomp box. They're just like having these. You step that on, distortion's on, goes to clean. On, off, on, off. You can leave these on so you can have chorus and delay playing wires going back and forth, or you can turn them off as you want. So they're totally adjustable up here with these knobs. You can dial them into whatever sound you want. Amazing pedals. I recommend these to everybody. I say if you don't want to spend a ton of money, but you want to get some great sounds, these Donner pedals are awesome. Check them out at Donner.com. Donner has a lot of great stuff. I'm really liking their stuff. They've come out with some amazingly built stuff that is just solid. And these things are going to get more expensive. They've already gone up in price since I bought them. So you guys that are on a budget friendly or just starting out and want something and not sure what to get and not sure what to do, check out these Donner ones. They're not super expensive. They're not going to break the bank. And you cannot buy a setup like this. If you're buying individual stomp boxes, you would have, you know, this one new is like $100 and some. You're looking at 100. Well, just what I paid for this used was like $70 some. I think I paid $75 for that. And if I remember correctly, this was like $60, and this one was like $70. So that's 140. It's like you're looking at about $210 for those three pedals right here if you went that route versus $49.99. You can't go wrong with that. So just to give you guys an idea, and I would take this out. I would go gig and open for Metallica playing out of this pedal, just so you guys know. These things are awesome. They're amazing. Hands down, probably best bang for the buck when it comes to these pedals. And that's like a little battery in my hand there. I don't know where that came from, but hey, we'll set that right there. That's weird. It's like hanging on there or something. Anyway. Oh, it's like a little magnetic thing. Okay, it's like a little magnet. Anyway, awesome little deal. So now, if you guys are looking to step up a little bit and go into the stomp box realm, but you don't want to get this crazy, but you want something that is simplistic and is going to get the job done, and you want to get into a little thing, then I recommend going like this route. Find yourself whatever pedals you want. Doesn't have to be these ones here. Find you a good tuner. I mean, you need a tuner on your pedal board no matter what. Get you a good distortion, a good delay, good chorus, and then maybe a noise gate, depending on what distortion is, and set your pedal board up like this, depending on what you're going to do. But this, like I said, goes up in value. I mean, you're talking about, what I say, I think around $350 to set up a pedal board like this for what I have on it. Could cost you more, could cost you less, depending on what you put on your board. Now, they make the micro pedals, they make the smaller ones like this, which will save you money. Especially if you go check out Donner. Donner has a ton of them. Donner makes a ton of them. They're awesome, and you can actually cut it down. But depending on what you use, if you're going to go Boss pedals, you're pretty much going to spend $100 or more per pedal for Boss stuff. So it just depends on what you want. But this is a great, simple setup as well. It's clean. It's easy. It's not super heavy. You can pack it in a bag. You can put it in a backpack, and this will get you going. And this will work no matter how big you get. You can be the most famous musician in the world, and this setup will knock it out of the park for you. And it's simple, and it's clean. And I like simple and clean. So that's what I love when it comes to playing, and that's why I have this set up. This is one of my favorite ones that I have as far as my pedal boards go, and they're awesome. And then you have to ask yourself, once you're getting in it, do you want to go stomp boxes, or do you want to go to a multi-effects pedal? Now, let's set this down. We're going to talk about the next stomp box thing again. So if you want to get a little bit more into it, then you go to this type of setup. I wanted to have a few more bells and whistles. This is what I play. When I want a few more bells and whistles and I know I'm doing songs, I have that extra drop pedal on there. I have the looper station on here and stuff. I have the wah-wah on here if I want to do some stuff like that. And then you can, build your pedal board up. But you could start with that one over there, and then you can build yourself up to this. But this gets expensive. This gets expensive because, this and here right alone, these two pedals alone, you got over $300 sunk into just those two, Then you jump over to here, you got, that takes it to about $470. This will push it up to $500. And then these three right here are going to take you over $600 plus the pedal board. Going to take you into $700 plus when you get into all the cables and patches as well. You're probably into this board set up for about $800. Somewhere in there, $700-800. With everything to have it on there. So $700-800 for this, or $49.99 or $69.99. Which way do you want to go? Or a little over $300 for that, whatever you want to go. So this gets more expensive when you start adding more pedals. You don't have to do this all at once. You can slowly build it up, but this type of setup gets more expensive. And then when you graduate, I hate to say this, but when you graduate to the multiple effects, it's a whole different ballgame as well. So you have to ask yourself, do I want to do stomp box pedal boards? Is that the kind of guitar player I am, that this is the route I want to go? Or do I want to go multi-effects? Now, when you get into multi-effects, like I said, the Boss ME70, back when it was first released, was like $299. And that was a great deal for a multi-effects pedal. And this thing sounds amazing. And you can still find these for about $170. It was either $299 or $399, but I think they were $299. But you can get them for around $150, $170 now, used. You had to get your own power supply with these. These didn't come with a power supply. That's one thing that sucked about them too. So tack on an extra $20 or $30 for that. But this is a great multi-effects pedal if you want to get started in the multi-effects realm where it's not super complicated. And the nice thing about these is that back in the day, they put thorough manuals in these that explained everything that this pedal did, which they don't do now. They want you to go research it and go download PDFs and all kinds of other stuff. But this is a great pedal. If you can find one of these in great shape used, it's pretty intuitive and pretty easy to figure out. You can create multiple patches. I have several patches that I use now. I don't use the stomp box mode. When I first bought this, I used the stomp box mode forever, because I didn't want to learn how to do the patches. And then I learned how to do the patches, and now I have my patches set up where I was able to create what I really wanted. And I love this pedal, and that's why I still have it. I'll still use it in the studio. I won't ever use it for a gig again. But you can't find In the multi-effects pedal world, I think the cheapest you can find now is $3.99, and I think that's either Line 6 or somebody that makes one. But pretty much when you get into these type of things, you're looking at like $3.99 or better. They have some. Wait, Boss does one that's $2.99. They like the ME1 or something, but that's so basic you really don't want that. I'm talking about when you want something at the right level. But most of the new multi-effects stuff are starting out at like $500 or better. Now, I had the Headrush MX5, and I thought that was a cool little pedal, but I ended up having all kinds of issues with it. I ended up getting two of them. I had two of them fail on me. I got one, it failed. They sent me a new one. I tried that one in, got that one in, and it failed too. Had issues right out of the gate, right out of the box, so I sent it back and got a refund because I wasn't going for three. I liked the concept of it. I liked it. I liked the small footprint it had, but it had too many issues. And that's the problem with these multi-effects pedals. They're putting so much in them now, they get crazy complicated. And then when you guys step up to one like this, you're talking about $11.99 for a Boss GT1000, which is like a serious. This is Boss's big dog. This is the big dog when it comes to Boss. This is the end-all, be-all for Boss. This is their top-end, high-end pedal that they got. This thing does so much stuff. But you're talking about $1,200. No, I think this was $12.99. It's $11.99 or $12.99. I'll have to look it up again, but somewhere in there. I'm talking about like $1,200 for a pedal board. All right. Now this thing, once I figured out how to do it, it's not as complicated to program as others. But there's a lot going on in here, and there's so much going on in here. There's so many things that this thing does that I think it's too much. I think they need to dial it back when it comes to these pedals. And how many of you guys out there playing have $1,200, or when you get to the Helix, like you're talking $1,600 for a pedal board? You know, how many people have that kind of money to dump into a pedal board system? You know, that's the thing. Now, I'm glad I got this because I really do like it. And I do enjoy playing it. And it's got this 12-string sound in it that makes your 6-string sound like a 12-string. And I love it for that. I mean, it has great distortion. It has all the great Boss effects in it, which is awesome. And this thing does a lot of amazing stuff. And after I figured out how to program it and change things, do things, it was fairly easy and fairly easy to do. But that first initial process of trying to figure it out was difficult. And I had to dive into it. And the manual just gives you such basics. And then in the manual it says if you want to learn how to really do it, you've got to go to their website, download this PDF file, and you got to read all this crap. And there was no explanations. Now, I watched some videos on YouTube on some basics. Those guys weren't going through it as well as they needed to explain it. People were just kind of going through things and not really showing you how to actually create your sounds and create your effects. So I made a 3-part series on this pedal. So if you guys want to check that out, excuse me, I do have a 3-part series on this Boss GT1000 on how to set it up and get your stuff programmed in there. And it's how to set it up for dummies, basically what it is, because I am not super computer savvy. Like, I use them and everything, and I do understand it, but these things are complicated. And this one actually, after researching the Helix and then researching the Boss, this one was the least complicated of them. And so I will say the Headrush was actually really intuitive as far as setting it up. It wasn't that complicated, but it had all kinds of other things that I didn't like either. But this one by far has been great and hasn't failed me. And now that I've got it set up and programmed, I'm happy with it. But there's a lot to go into it. So if you guys aren't ready to have to spend, weeks trying to figure out how to use your pedal. Now, they have presets already set in there that you can just use, but you still got to learn how to program them. They have preset stations, and everybody, you want to tweak your stuff. I mean, I tweaked every sound in here. I found one that I liked, and then I tweaked it to what I really liked. And I will say it wasn't that hard. Once I learned how to use this, it wasn't that hard now that I understand it. But it took, I messed with this thing for a good solid week before I got what I wanted, as far as just the few sounds that I want to have. So in this thing, I'm still messing with it. I'm still learning it, still figuring it out, still playing with it, still playing with sounds, playing with programs and stuff, because there's so much that's going on in this thing. And I think that's too much because for most of us out there, we want to be able to plug our pedals up, dial in the tones real quick, and then rock out. We don't want to spend weeks and months messing with something to try to get it dialed in to the sounds we want. And I've had this thing for a few months now, and I'm still messing with it. Where when it comes to these type of things, you literally look at it. You've got a gain level. ISF and tone on this pedal. There's 4 knobs. You turn it, you dial it in, and you play. Same thing with this. I've only got 3 knobs on this chorus. I got 3 knobs on this delay with 3 switches. It's very simple. These pedals is very simple. You know, delay 3 knobs, chorus 3 knobs, distortion 3 knobs, and you're off and going. Same thing there. 3 to 4 knobs. You dial them in, and you're playing. And it's so much easier to set these up than it is to set one of these up. So that's what I mean when if you guys got to ask yourself, how complicated do you want to get versus do you want to be able to plug in, dial in your tone, and play? So if you get into the multi-effects board, it's a lot more learning curve. There's a lot more process into it. There's a lot more that goes into being able to set one of these up and play one of these versus playing that. So you have to ask yourself, you know, do you want this or do you want this? You know, which one are you interested in doing? You know, do you want complicated or do you want more simplistic? You know, so that's what you have to ask yourself when it comes to these pedals. Me personally, like I've said, I like simple, keep it simple, stupid stuff. You know, and even though I have this, now that I've got it programmed, it's simple for me, but this is still a learning curve. I'm still learning this pedal. I've had this pedal for a few months, and I'm still learning this. Where this, I just set it up, plugged everything, dialed in my tone, and there's nothing to learn. It's good to go. So you guys have to ask yourself, what do you really want? And, you know, then you're going to dive into which one do you think is better? You know, because everybody wants to know, are stomp pedals better than multi-effects boards? You know, or is this better than that? Well, honestly, that boils down to the player because this has its uses. It has things that are really cool. And then this has its uses, and it just depends on the player and what you're willing to do. When you have stomp pedals like this, the one thing that a multi-effects pedal eliminates is doing the pedal dance. So if you're playing a live show and you have your distortion on and your delay, but you want to go into your clean and you want to get your chorus on, then you got to turn this off and turn your chorus on, but you don't want the chorus playing in the lead channel or in your distortion channel and your rhythm channel. When you go to switch, you got to turn this one on, turn this one on, and so you're doing the pedal dance. You're flipping different switches all the time and stuff. Or say you don't want delay or chorus in there, you got to shut these two off and turn that on, and then you want delay and chorus in your clean channel. Then you turn this off and you got to turn these on. So you're always doing a pedal dance. And the one thing that you can eliminate with multi-effects pedals is the pedal dance, because on this pedal board, I have my clean channel here, I've got a distortion channel here, I've got a lead channel there, and then I've got a couple effects dialed in there actually I have an auto wah dialed in on those and stuff. And that's what I have. I have an auto wah, I have clean, I have rhythm channel, lead channel, auto wah with the lead channel. So I have a lead without and a lead with auto wah, and then I have an effects something programmed there with effects, which I can't remember which is on because I have different patches that have different things on it, but I have some sort of effect programmed in there, and that eliminates that because when I go to the clean channel, it automatically turns on the delay or the chorus. It turns on delay, chorus, or flanger or whatever I have on that clean channel. It'll automatically turn on because it's programmed in there. Where when you have the stomp pedals, you're having to turn those on and off as you go. So you're doing this pedal dance, and anybody that's been playing for a while will tell you that they're not really big fans of doing the pedal dance. I mean, but if you like this is simpler. And this setup for me, the way I have these dialed in, I leave my chorus and my delay on, and all I'm doing is turning my distortion on and off. And then if I'm going to play in D or E flat or something, I just turn this on for that song and then I turn it off. But the way I dialed this pedal board in is I don't have to turn them on and off. Now that one I do. That one I have to do the pedal dance with. So it's usually, I usually leave the delay on all the time, and then it's just the chorus and the distortion I'm dancing back and forth with most of the time. But that's the differences when you get into these versus these. These you have to do a little pedal dance with, where these you don't, because you can program specifically what you want on each channel. So if I want a clean channel that has chorus, delay, and some flanger, boom, it's there. If I want a rhythm channel that has flanger on it, boom, I can put it in there and some delay. I can add all that in there, and then when I hit the switch, boom, it's there. It automatically turns everything on or off with one foot switch instead of having to do multiples. And that's when you get into that kind of stuff. So it really can get as complicated or as simple as you want. I mean, honestly, like I keep saying, if you're a beginner player, one of these Donner Alpha Crunchers or the Donner Alpha Force, you can't go wrong with that. You know, because the new multi-effects pedals are getting so complicated. I don't like them because they've gotten so complicated, but some people like that, some people don't. But these are pretty much my pedal board setups that I have, that I use. And to answer your question, I know some of you guys are going to be like, well, which one is the one that you use all the time? What is your main go-to pedal board system and stuff? Well, currently, I am using the Boss GT1000. But I switch back and forth from the GT1000 to this pedal board system to that pedal board system. I tend to use these three depending on where I'm playing and what I'm doing and what songs I'm playing or what songs I know I'm going to play in a set. I kind of bounce around to that. But right now the Boss GT1000 is the one that I'm using every day. But this one is still one that I love and I use a lot as well. And I have these plugged into different amps because I have different ones, so I can just jump to one to the other without having to unplug and plug things. I can just turn on that amp and play that rig. Now, the next question you might ask me is like, which one is, out of all of them, which one is your favorite setup? Out of all these ones you had, if you could only pick one, which one would you want to have? If there's only one you could have, and that was it, and that was the only one you could run, which one would it be? And most of you guys would probably think that I would say, oh, the Boss GT1000. But it's actually not the Boss GT1000. It's actually this pedal board right here. And this has been a workhorse for me for such a long time, and this has everything in it. With the drop tuner, I love this Black Star distortion. I love my Jerry Kent 12 wah. So out of all these sitting here, if I could only have one system to use that was it, and that was it, it would be this pedal board right here. And it's not that I don't like that Boss GT1000, because I do, but this right here is just near and dear to my heart, and I'm still old school when it comes to playing. I'm used to doing the pedal dance, so I like this. And like I said, the way I have this board set up, I only have to do the dance, I only have to do this one pedal. I can turn on and off. I leave everything else is on, except for when I'm using this right here. I only turn it on and just for whatever tunings I need to, but I'm only doing one pedal, and then I'm using the wah. And I have this set up so simple that it's very easy for me to use, and that's what I like. But if you're asking me if I was doing a bunch of fly dates, and I was having to fly and go play and constantly go play and get on planes and doing a lot of travel or playing with a gazillion different bands all the time, I would take this or this. I'd actually take these two. This would be it. If I was playing with a bunch of different bands and having to jump to a bunch of different places all the time and constantly doing a lot of that stuff, these would be it. I'd use one as my main and one as a backup. And when I go play gigs and when I go play out, I take one of these with me all the time. No matter what I do or where I go, whatever pedal board system I take, I always either have the Donner Alpha Cruncher or the Donner Alpha Force as a backup. These are my backups. If this all fails, if one of these all fails, this is my backup pedal board right here, because it has the chorus, delay, and distortion that I like, and that's all I need to get through a show. So, because I don't do a lot of crazy effects and stuff when it comes to it, and so I always have one of those with me as well, and I love them. So, that's pretty much it. I kind of wanted to go through all this for you guys. I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff. I'm sure I could have covered more, but I was just trying to go through what would be best. Well, not necessarily what would be best, but just kind of the differences in what you have and what you can use, and the confusion that's in there when it comes to the expenses and what to set up and everything. Like I said, the best way to get started is find a good distortion, a good delay, and a good chorus, and build your stuff from there, because those are the three main things that will give you great sounds, and you can do a lot with them. And, well, good delay, good distortion, good chorus, and a good tuner. You need a tuner pedal, but as far as little multi-effects pedals, you can't go wrong with these Donners. They're awesome. I recommend them to everybody. And then you can get as simple or as crazy as you want. Obviously, you can see that I have got a lot of different ones that I've experimented with over the years. That's just the nature of the beast until you find what you like. I will say that everything that's on this table, I truly love them all, and they all have their uses. And I still use everything on this table. There's not one thing on here that doesn't get used on a regular basis when I'm playing. I love switching it up. I enjoy all these things, and they all have their place in what I do. And the other thing that I like about this is having this much variety in my studio. When other guys come play, they can experiment and try things, and they can try new sounds and do stuff and kind of figure out what they want to do as well. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope this guy helps some of you guys out there trying to figure out what you may or may not want to do when it comes to if you want to go stomp box pedal boards versus multi-effects pedal boards versus something simple, which is this is a multi-effects pedal board, but it's just three. It's distortion, chorus, delay, and it's not going to break your bank. And they're built like tanks. I keep going back to that. If you guys notice, I keep going back to that because I love those. And they're so budget friendly that you can't go wrong, because you can't, these setups you can't do with anything else that's on here. You know, and when I look at, if I just went distortion, chorus, and delay right there, you're looking at almost $300 of that right there. Same thing with here, you're looking at almost $300 worth of pedals, just, distortion, chorus, delay here. Definitely that over there, where you're talking $69 and $49.99 for that. So these are your best way to, if you guys are getting started, to dive into it. And then as you guys progress and get better, you'll start playing around. Trust me, you're going to have crazy amounts of stuff. I've got a whole shelf over there of all kinds of other pedals that I've used throughout the years that I've kept. And this is kind of my go-to stuff. Out of all the stuff that I've experimented for all the years of playing, this is what I've come up with as my go-to gear that I like to use. So again, I hope you guys like this video. I hope this helps some of you guys out there. Questions, comments are more than welcome, and I'd love to hear what you guys use, what type of rigs you like. Tell me whether you prefer the stomp box pedal board versus a multi-effects pedal board. I would love to hear your thoughts, like what of you guys are using that are multi-effects, or what guys are using these, and which ones do you guys like better. Honestly, like I said, they all have their uses. But if I had to just pick one out of this pile that's sitting here, this is the board I'd go to. I know that's kind of crazy because there's a Boss GT 1000 sitting there. If I had two choices, it would be this and the Boss GT 1000. Those would be the two that I would be using. So this is 1 and 2 is the GT 1000 and this pedal board system. But if I was on a super budget, then I can tell you right now, these guys will get it done, and these guys will get it done no matter how big and famous you get. These little pedals will get it done. And you can put these, I mean, what's cool is you just look at this. Distortion, chorus, delay, look at how much room that would take up versus what I got on that pedal board. I could literally have all that in one shot and not take up near as much room on there. So I actually am going to build a pedal board. I want to do a pedal board that's nothing but these Donner multi-effects pedals, because they've got a couple other ones, and I want to put them together on a board so you guys can see what that looks like one day. But that'll be another video. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, questions and comments, please leave them down below. Keep it tasteful, people. Don't get nasty. So I mean, I appreciate it, just to keep it tasteful, but I appreciate honesty as well. And do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe button, and ding dong button. And then if you guys got any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on the next one.